Okay, hi everybody. I'm here with the recap from Happiness Hour that took place earlier today, March 13th. Today, our topic is Develop Good Habits. It's chapter 15. But before we got started reading, we checked in to see how people were doing, and I'm happy to say, on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being terrible, 10 being fantastic, everybody was either a 7 or an 8, and there was one 8.5. So we're doing pretty well considering what's going on in the world. After we did the check-in, Karen took us through an exercise using a technique from Ageless Grace, which was a course she taught during the pandemic. Ageless Grace has 21 tools designed for lifelong comfort and ease, and we could all use some of that. So Karen walked us through an exercise where you use your hands and doing some grabbing and it was all to music, so it didn't look quite this goofy, but it was fun. We had a good time, and after we finished the exercise, she said you could also do this using your toes to pick up different, like, Kleenex and tissues. So we did not do that part, but something you could do at home if you want. Okay, and then when that was over, I read chapter 15. I'm going to just hit the highlights right now. Developing good habits. Habits are those little things you do every day that either make life better or get in the way of your happiness. So if you're doing something that compromises your peace of mind, your happiness, your health, or the peace of mind, happiness, and health of others, you might want to make some changes. And that's especially true with some really bad habits, like if you're still smoking or you're drinking too much or, stuff like that, gambling. Definitely take care of that. But we have habits that are on the continuum. And most of us, if we take time to review our day, can discover there's some things that we'd rather get rid of or replace with something that's healthier or better for us. Maybe it's just putting a happier face on, or replacing a negative attitude with one that's more positive, or being less scattered, or less frustrated and angry. So a good way to assess your bad habits is to recall times when people have called you out on your behavior, like you're always late, or you never help, or God, you're so cheap, stuff like that. When somebody does that to you, you have to really pay attention and say, is that true? Because sometimes people just take their own bad day out on others. Anyway, be sure that whatever someone's calling you out on is actually true for you. If you decide that it's time to turn a habit around, then what you want to do is kind of catch yourself in the act. So it's really important to pay attention. For example, let's say you're always bossing people around, telling them what they should and shouldn't do. In that case, every time the word should comes out of your mouth, you might want to just go, notice it, try to nip it in the bud, catch it before it actually is something anyone can hear, if you can. Keep in mind, changing habits, give yourself time, give yourself a break. It's not easy to announce, oh yes, I'm going to stop eating chocolate, when you've been addicted to chocolate your whole life, Okay, another really good way to change habits is to really be mindful, give it a try, really pay attention to the behaviors that you're doing. Like if you bite your nails, every time your hand goes to your mouth, you might catch yourself and be mindful about it. So anyway, give yourself a break, be kind to yourself, know that you can change habits, you can cultivate better habits. You just have to give yourself time and be good to yourself about it. So before we get into the writing prompt, I shared The other book Elle and I wrote is this one, Don't Stop Now, Making the Most of the Rest of Your Life. And it's probably for women who are 50 plus. But chapter 5, Ain't Misbehaving or Are You, is all about changing habits and behaviors. So if you happen to want to spend more time learning about habits and behaviors, you might want to pick this up too. Okay, the writing prompt was fun. It says, make 2 columns, a list of the habits that you would like to change on one side and a better habit you would replace it with on the other. Then ask yourself this question. What problem is the bad habit causing you? And how would your life be better if you chose the good habit over the bad one? And we took about 10, 15 minutes to work on this. And I'm going to read you a couple of mine. And then I took notes on what other people said. For me, I had 7 bad habits. I'm not getting into all of them. But one is, I don't always stretch every day. I have a bad back. And if I do the physical therapy exercises that were given to me, I feel pretty good most of the time. But I don't always do them. So the replacement behavior for me would be doing my exercises every morning at 8:30. That's just a good time for me. And what would happen is I'd have less back pain. So that would be the improvement. And that's how the quality of my life would improve. Okay, another bad habit I have is not brushing my dog every day. It's a golden retriever. She's got lots of fur and she rolls in a lot of dirt. So if I did it every day, if I brushed her every day and I picked the same time every day again, after her walk, she would be a much cleaner dog, and her coats wouldn't get matted. It would probably reduce her shedding, and we'd all be happier. So those are 2 examples that I had, but I want to share some of the habits that other people brought up. One was to start journaling every day, mostly to create a historical record. And given all that's going on in the world, I mean, once things settle down, it'll be really interesting, just like with the pandemic, to look back and have a record of what actually happened and how it affected you personally. Another person said that their bad habit was really internalizing bad news. And she said, especially when it comes to listening to the news or discussing politics, she just gets completely worked up. And she realized that that's one solution might be to get more involved in the community and to be able to do something rather than just listen and feel helpless, to call her congressman or step up, call the senators, get involved locally with discussion groups and other things that are going on. And then we talked about how Blue Sky and the app 5 Calls might be useful to people who want to become more involved in politics. Another one, this was great. One of the people said she'd always rented cars or leased cars, and she owns a car for the first time. And so she needs to get into the habit of regular car maintenance. And that means learning about it and at least reading the maintenance section of the car manual and, and putting it on her calendar. That seemed to be a big thing. Writing it down, making note of things that need to be done on a regular basis, getting the oil changed, check the timing belts, all those things that you have to do when you own a car. Here was another one. Another person is addicted to social media and it's eating up a lot of time. It's a new addiction, not something that had happened before, but I think it's a way of de-stressing, but it's also wasting a ton of time. So that's a habit that she wants to change. And a suggestion was maybe delete it from her phone so that it's a lot more inconvenient to check her different social media applications. Then someone else said that they've just gotten into the habit of being so isolated. And the workaround for that is pick up the phone, call friends, make plans, take a class, do something besides just be home alone every day. Procrastination was another bad habit. And especially when it came to things like exercise and doing things like purging belongings and cleaning up things, that we know we should do when we get to a certain point in our life, and it's just we don't get around to it. So procrastination was another bad habit, and not procrastinating means you get things done and you have time to do more things that you want to do. Finally, I love this one. The bad habit was getting lost in a book, where, you think, okay, I'm just going to read 1 or 2 chapters. And then the next thing you know, you've been on the couch all day because you can't put the book down. Now, I don't think that's a bad habit at all. Especially this person happens to be retired. So to me, reading is never a bad habit, but I understand how it could get out of hand. Anyway, so that's what we talked about today. And we ran over and forgot to pick the topic for next week. So I'm going to do that right now. And I've been shuffling these cards. So I'm just going to give it one good shuffle. And here you go. Well, let's see what we come up with. Okay, it's 19. Let me look in the table of contents here and see what 19 is. Good one. Stop complaining. So that'll be the topic for next Thursday. Anyway, if you can join us live, that would be fantastic. If you want to know when these videos come out, if you subscribe, then you'll be notified when a new video is out. I'm going to make a huge effort to get them out every Thursday after the call, Friday at the latest. Okay, well, thank you, everybody. For the next week, try to be as happy as you can, and be kind to yourself and others. All right, I'll see you soon.